Hey gang, I want to teach you how to season your cast iron skillet. You'll notice if you follow me that this is my main cooking pan. I use it, I have two sizes. It's really the only thing that I use to cook with, and I get a ton of questions about how I take care of it. So anytime that you buy a cast iron skillet, or a couple of times a year at least, you want to season it, okay? Over time it'll kind of get this kind of crusty, kind of black, you know, just from cooking and things like that. So you want to kind of give it a good scrub. This is actually the tool that I use to clean my skillet, because you don't really ever want to use soap on it. Okay, so I'm going to give it a really good scrub. Like so. And I'll tell you a couple of tips. This is really the only thing I use to clean with. I never use soap on it. I don't use my scrub brush because it has soap on it. So we really just use this to really kind of scrub it off, but I'll talk more about that later. So once you get it kind of nice and clean, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna coat it with a really kind of thin coat of oil. I love to use coconut oil, and I just coat the whole pan, front and back, and then we're gonna bake it upside down, 350 for about an hour. All right, check it out. I recommend a high heat oil like coconut oil or avocado oil. I threw this coconut oil in the microwave to liquefy it, and I'm just gonna pour it a little bit in the pan, and I'm going to use a cloth, and I'm just going to rub it all around the sides, the bottom, the back of the pan, really just kind of all over, and coat the pan thoroughly. Okay, I've preheated my oven. I've got it at 350 degrees. I'm gonna put this pan underneath the rack that I'm gonna put the cast iron skillet on, just to collect any of the excess oil that's gonna drip off. And I'm gonna cook this for 1 hour, again at 350 degrees. Okay, 1 hour later, all done. Here you have a beautifully seasoned cast iron skillet. Okay, let's talk about cleaning your cast iron skillet. So I just cooked in my skillet. Couple of things that you don't want to do. Let me show you. You don't want to use soap, okay? No soap ever in your conditioned cast iron skillet. That is a huge no-no, okay? So I actually purchased this tool. It's actually intended to help clean your cast iron skillet, and all I use is hot water. You can also, another option is you can also use balled up Reynolds wrap to kind of scrape off the chunks. Just ball it up and kind of scrape it off. So, I mean, basically you just want to kind of get off the food particles, and that's kind of what this little tool does. And a really good seasoned cast iron skillet kind of cleans really quickly. So I did some steaks on this at high heat. So I'll just make sure that I kind of get any leftover crust or anything in there. I just kind of want to clean this out really nice. I'll take a kind of a clean towel with no soap on it. You can also use that, again, just like no soap, to kind of scrub it. I say I do this. No, I don't do this. My husband does this. He does the dishes, but basically just kind of cleaning it out. Now, sometimes if your skillet is not seasoned well, it won't clean this nicely. Look how nicely that cleaned down. Really nice. And so if things get stuck in here, one of the things that you can do is you can actually put some water in it and boil it, boil the water, and that really hot water will sometimes kind of loosen any, anything that's stuck on there. So it's still just a little bit oily, but that's okay. That's what you want, because I'm going to show you what you're going to do after you dry it off. So just to recap, hot water, no soap, this tool or some Reynolds wrap, aluminum foil is just really good to kind of help scrape anything off. Once you have it all rinsed out, I will just take a towel and dry it, or I'll just let it dry on its own. And just kind of dry it out. And then what you want to do is you want to put a little bit of oil on it, okay? So I love this avocado spray because I'll just spray a little bit of that on there and then just kind of coat it around, because you want it to have just a little bit of oil on it when you're not using it. You can also just take a little bit of like coconut oil. So I'll just like stick my finger in there. Oh, that's really good. And then again, just kind of smear it on there. You can use a paper towel, whatever. I just find that this is just a lot easier. So I'll usually just spray a little bit on there and then use a paper towel and kind of rub it around the sides. So this will keep it nice and seasoned, nice and conditioned. The more seasoned it is, the less it sticks. If your pan is sticking, you need to season it, okay? And that's what we did in the very beginning. So, so easy. It really, honestly, I feel like this is one of the healthiest pans on the market. Probably the biggest drawback is the fact that it's really heavy. So that's a huge drawback. And based on what I've read, it's not ideal to cook acidic things like tomatoes in it. So if I ever do like a pasta sauce or something, or roasted tomatoes or something, I always use a different pan. But there you go. I hope that's helpful. Get yourself a cast iron skillet, season it up, keep it well conditioned. Hot water only. When you rinse it, no soap. That's the tricks, guys.